Welcome back, and we're getting ready to move into our second segment for today as we learn more about the practice of mindfulness. And we have with us Belizean mindfulness instructor of Rhythm of Change, Shanti Belize, Jeremy Enriquez. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on the show this morning and to talk about mindfulness.
Now, Jeremy, let's just start off by finding out, I think the question that's burning on everybody's mind. How does one become a mindfulness instructor?
Actually, let me start by my journey with mindfulness. Yes. Went way back. It's important. It's just interesting how people sow small seeds of change that will have big impact later on. Way back about around 1984, when I was an innocent young man, a priest friend of mine, Father Tenant Wright, just introduced me to mindfulness. I believe he had just come from a trip to the East, and he gave me these books, and he introduced me to the practice. We sat, and that was that was a deep experience that I went through with him, just with that experience. And so I decided to introduce it at the time to high school students. I was teaching in PG, where I'm from, at Claver College. So I would go to this class. We just sit for 10 minutes. And I began to see some amazing change in the students, like a transformation. They're more attentive, just find a peacefulness in class. And so that sparked my interest. There must be something deep. It is an experience. And when I went abroad to study psychology, which is I was very disturbed at the approach to psychology in the Western way. And so I drew from that experience with Father Wright. Unfortunately, there was another class called Eastern Psychology, which made me switch. And that was the most rewarding experience.
Now, how do you simplify the definition of what mindfulness is? Because for those who are in the practice, it's easy to understand what it means to be mindful. But for those of us who have never practiced mindfulness and go about our daily routines, how would you explain what it is?
It's not a complicated exercise. It's not a complicated thing. It is just an awareness that comes when we pay attention on purpose, not judging, and experiencing the moment by moment reality. That means we just spend some time alone, spend some time in silence, but purposefully, and observing the breath. And by observing the breath is just a tool, or the body sensations. These are just tools to sharpen the mind. What happens with our mind is that it is always wandering. It is called the monkey mind. It is wandering from past to future. It is planning, it is running. It is a part of the Western kind of culture where as soon as we wake up, we want to be busy. And what it is doing though, is that it is clogging our minds from deeper awareness because we're reacting to our perceptions, and there's no clarity, no depth. So it's like shaking our water with dirt in it. And mindfulness would then let that water settle. All the dirt falls to the bottom, and it becomes very clear. So you could see to the bottom, the water is still, and it reflects more truths and reality.
That's a very vivid description. But you know, I could remember when I was in high school with this counselor, what she did with us in teaching us study skills. She had us sit down and she said, all right, don't think, focus on one thing. Whether a sound outside, whether it is your colleague beside you breathing, whatever it is, focus on something and then tell us what it is that you're hearing and all of that. And it really made you focus on one thing, and it's like a tool that you can use in terms of when you're out there trying to do a particular project or something in life, focusing on that goal, reaching that. Is that what it's all about? Is that what it gives the people that practice it?
Sort of, but when the moment you tell someone I don't think, then the thoughts are right. But it is not a not thinking thing. That comes as a side effect, but it's focusing this time on the breathing. Why breath? Let me state first that this is not a religious thing. It is not sectarian. It's just observation of the breath, or one thing sharpens the mind. And as you there's no Christian breath, there's no Buddhist breath, or no. It's just breath is breath. And so, what has been found even in the science is that as a human being, just focusing on the breath sharpens the mind, calms the mind, and brings benefits like reduce anxieties, stress, all of these things.
Well, health benefits.
Health benefits and psychological benefits.
I love the quote you had up just now in terms of students are told thousands of times during the day to pay attention, but are never taught how.
Definitely.
And this is very real, especially living in our society where multitasking seems to be the preferred methodology, while oftentimes our brain really can't cope with it as much as we think. Humans are said to use 10% of their brain capacity. And it has been proven that exercises like mindfulness and yoga and meditation can help to create more activity going on in what is called the gray matter in the brain.
Exactly.
From your studies and from your practice, how has mindfulness helped you?
For me personally, I remember way back I used to have a problem with patience. Lack of patience. Sometimes you're trying to explain something and people not getting it, and I could sense the anger in there of people not. So it allows me to step back a little bit, and in fact when you do mindfulness you could sense, oh, anger is arising, anxiety is arising. You could sense these things arising, and then when you do not react, it goes away. The things that deepen within ourselves are those things that we focus on. The more we react to anything, and the more it deepens within ourselves. And so for me, that level of peace, but also a sense of a sharper mind, looking at things more circumspect. There's a depth that I realized that I wouldn't realize until I interact with others. Are you seeing it this way? You see far deeper into different situations and problems.
There's this very fascinating thing that happens to me when we have this conversation about meditation, mindfulness, or yoga. Immediately, I become conscious of my breath. Because one of the things I believe as guests have pointed out to us is that we have such short, rapid breaths throughout the day. And we don't think about deep breathing. Now, anger management teaches you deep breathing. You know, when people are in pain management, they teach them deep breathing. So there is some there is the science behind getting more oxygen into your body and regulating your breathing. Tell us how this works.
It's all in, breath, from all the way back, thousands of years, people have recognized, the sages have recognized, that when we are aware of the breath, because the breath is an indicator of our inner state, actually. If we are angry, we breathe fast. If we're agitated, we breathe faster. And if we are able to calm the breath and just, if we're calmer, we notice that the breath is deeper, it is calmer. And so it reflects our state of mind. So the awareness of our breath is an awareness of the state of our mind. And so when we encourage practice, daily practice, you know, sometimes people say we'll start mindfulness and let's do it for 2 days, and I say, but I'm not seeing a result. You cannot. It is a consistent practice. Just like you wake up and you have to bathe every morning or brush your teeth every morning, it could be built as a practice in your life. And over time, then you will see the difference. It doesn't just say, well, I practiced this mindfulness thing 2 days ago and I see nothing yet. It is not going to happen. It is more consistency, setting time. And even when you are beginning to see the difference in your life, even as you're feeling, wow, I'm not angry anymore, wow, I'm more patient. Some people get to that stage and say, well, I stop. I already see the benefit. It's like saying, well, I will bathe for a few days and wow, I feel clean, so I better stop bathing. Or, oh, I'm going to brush my teeth, it's healthy, wow, it looks beautiful, I'm going to stop now. It's not going to work. It has to be a consistent thing, and it has to be built in as a part of life. So,
interesting.
I want to point at this picture, very important, because we're seeing all around the world, mindfulness is now moving to the west. So we see here in this picture the Canadian police force practicing mindfulness before they go out on their beat. If If the Belize police force even do that, we'll see a whole difference in their approach to people anywhere, in the workplace. I know that, for example, in the United Kingdom, the Parliament did a big study called the Mindfulness Project, where it is deeply recognized in Parliament that to change society, we have to change first the individual. We're not going to stop this crime or violence and all of this if we do not address the individual and collective consciousness, because these things are only reflections of a deeper mind state. And we're losing it if we're not going to return to the individual, for individuals to develop that consciousness to be able to change. Otherwise, we're just cutting the leaves and not looking at the root. And so here is an example of the British Parliament just doing a moment of mindfulness before they start their session. Imagine that our Parliament, the quality of the discussion, the depth of insight. It's not going to, of course, mindfulness do not make people like vegetables and say, oh, well, we're just sitting there, let things pass. No, it gives you a depth of insight, a more circumspect insight, a deeper compassion, understanding that comes from a place of goodwill to make the kinds of changes in society. And we're missing the boat, I think, when we're not addressing everything starts with the mind. Everything. We see this glass, somebody conceived this and made it, everything. And so human behavior, if we're not making that awareness, even sports people like LeBron James has recognized it sharpens their performance. Athletes, different key persons, even in business
CEOs,
people, Google has done that with their staff. You have Virgin Atlantic, Barclays Bank, and different companies find that even in the workplace, people become more productive.
Now here's the thing. Belize, given our exposure to media, to the US media, we pick up on trends based on when the United States start to have these trends, unfortunately. Because as you pointed out, it is really a new practice or become more trendy in the Western world, where it's been practiced in other parts of the world on a more regular basis. Have you seen more interest locally in Belize? And what are some of the things that you hear as the reasons why people come and seek out mindfulness practice?
I remember when I started, when I was introduced about 30 years ago with this priest, and I also went.
And Father Wright is a Jesuit priest.
He's a Jesuit priest, and that's interesting because I remember attempting to offer this mindfulness training at a Jesuit high school, and the principal said, no. I said, no, it's okay. It's not a sectarian thing. But anyway, I remember when I started, it was a kind of a lonely feeling. Like you have this exciting new thing that you say, man, this works. This will really make a difference in your life. And I just went about. I used to do these 10-day retreats also. I went abroad to these with 10 hours a day. We're just sitting there observing our breath, body sensation. Very rigorous mind cleansing exercise. In fact, my wife is doing that right now. For 10 days, you wake up 4 in the morning, from 4:30 till 9 at night in different 1-hour sessions. You're there just observing, just a cleansing all, and you recognize there's so much things that people can live with unresolved situations in their life, and it's just buried there. But when you sit and just observe, they start to dissolve. They just come up the surface and they go away. You just watch it. It's a beautiful feeling. And so business people in the United States, executives, are attending these retreats, and they find this experience, and they go back to their staff and they implement mindfulness in the workplace, and productivity increases, happiness in the workplace increases, there's a pleasant feeling with the staff. They resolve their issues differently. There's less tension in the workplace. And even when it is used in schools, the children, there's less disciplinary problems. The children pay more attention. They're keen in their insights. Their performance improves. There's more compassionate, caring school environment. So it's not an external teacher trying to control now. The child has an inbuilt internal guidance to say, and they live a more conscious thing.
So go ahead.
So how do you guys, is it just that people reach out to you guys, or are you working on reaching out to other people? Because obviously it has so many benefits. You know, how do you reach people to get them to do this mindfulness techniques?
We just offer. Well, first I have to say I have to be thankful for Shanti. They discovered me in a sense because I was just there alone with my practice, and I wasn't really reaching out because I was giving up. I said, well, the people are not ready, and there came Shanti. They invited me over, and they said, well, come teach a class, and then you teach a class, and more people want to practice, and so we're reaching out. We had a workshop with high school counselors to introduce mindfulness to them. There was a class in Coruscant where we introduced mindfulness to the yoga class, and then after that first class, they say come back. So I go back again, and then they say come back. So, and word of mouth.
So
but if we could get it in the schools, it will make a whole change for generations because we're looking at the surface of problems. We're not looking at the root to develop conscious kids. We're giving them external academic for intellectual development, but we're missing out a whole part of their mind and their consciousness to be able to self and to cope with all the struggles of life.
So how much time do they need in terms of just sitting down and practicing this mindfulness?
How do you fit it into your daily routine?
You only need, if you just start with maybe 5 minutes. Okay. I usually tell my those who I practice with 20 minutes. 20 minutes a day. As soon as you get up, sit still, and then you just we will work on some techniques.
We're going to try
shortly.
it in just a few, so you can look out for that.
Well, Marlene has been breathing, taking deep breaths ever since the segment started.
But if you build that as a part of your schedule, you will notice. Don't say, oh, after 2 things this doesn't work. Even if you do 5 minutes to start with, you're starting to bring. You'll notice the beginning will be difficult because you will start to observe how chaotic your mind is. And that is why people stop, because they don't want to face the truth that you're living with a chaotic mind. You're always bombarding with past, future, and past and future thinking will bring more depression, more anxiety,
and a lack of awareness
and a lack of awareness of now. And so we're just, when now comes, you're living, you're just chasing straws in the wind.
Here's the thing, and I can use a very real example.
Yeah.
Us right now. One, everybody here knows it's very difficult for me to keep still for a long time. You know, I remember in school they used to call me never stop move, never stop talk. Secondly, in a situation like this, we're on live television, we're focusing on camera angles, pictures, what's happening after this, if the first segment went right. So, and it's, while this is TV, it's the same thing in people's lives. You're in a meeting and you're thinking of having to pick up the kids from school, what you'll make for dinner, what you have to do for the weekend. You're full with lots of energy and can barely sit still. How do you get somebody like that? Somebody like me, I can say, to be able to focus your mind for 2 minutes on one exercise such as breathing?
It takes practice. So the only way to do it is to learn is by doing it. And the only way to reap the benefits is by just doing it over time. You set a consistent time and a place. You go in your house, you say, well, as soon as I wake up this morning, or you find some quiet time in the morning or in the night, and you lock that time, just like you have to, whatever you have to do. I have to cook, I have to brush my teeth, I have to, just set that time and you make it one of these have to, because it is for your mind, you're cleansing your mind. Let us say I have to shower my mind in a sense then. And then you spend that time and consistently practice. And
it can be done anywhere, whenever you have the free time.
Anywhere, in the workplace, in your home, in your bedroom, any quiet place and time.
To make it part of your routine.
To make it part of your routine. It is that mental health. And again, it is this, all the science has shown, even the quality of the brain is different. The quality of your health, the quality of your insight, the quality of your performance in every way through mindfulness. So if we live in this clouded mind, just chasing, which is a Western habit, which is, and we neglect ourselves, we alienate ourselves from ourselves, then we alienate ourselves from others, we alienate ourselves from nature, And we just live this chaotic life, and it erupts in anger, jealousy, hatred, greed. All these problems we're seeing in the society stems from an individual root cause. Corruption in government comes from individual greed, and it becomes a collective practice. Crime comes from individual anger, and then it erupts from collective practice. So if we're not healing these anger, we're not intervening at that level, we're going to just keep band-aiding the things that are happening.
So we are going to move into a demonstration at this point in time, because I think people have heard many of the reasons why, some of the benefits that may come from it, and those who have been practicing, obviously, you know, a police department, there we go, the brain before and after meditation. Look at that.
The calmness of the brain.
The calmness, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think people have heard the reasons why, and it's just figuring out how easy it is. So we're going to go ahead and move over. And Jeremy, you're going to guide us through a mindfulness exercise live on air.
Okay.
All right. So you're going to come in the middle, and you can work with both of us. Okay.
Am I ready?
All right, so we are now in your class, Mr. Instructor, and you guide us through this.
Well, the important thing, we chose the chair because I imagine most people spend a lot of time in their offices. Otherwise, the best sitting position is lotus position on the floor.
Just cross-legged.
Yeah, cross legs with your back straight. So, but if you're in your office or in your home, you're there in your chair, you want to take a break. Each day, maybe you carve a time in your office, maybe just before you go to lunch or just before you go home. You sit with your back straight, your hands on your lap. And then make sure, and then you close your eyes. And make sure you sense your body, just relax. Just relax. Your eyes not tightly closed, just gently closed. Your shoulders upright, your back straight. And take a deep breath in. And release it slowly through your mouth. Another deep breath in. And just release it. And another deep breath in. And the purpose of these 3 deep breaths is just to get you in a relaxed state. And then you focus your attention on your natural breath. Just the natural breath. You're not changing anything. You're focusing your attention on each breath as it goes in and out. The sensation of the breath as it touches your nostrils going in and out. Just remain aware. You might notice already that your mind wants to wander away from the present reality or the observation of your breath. Just accept it, not judging the mind, not forcing anything. When you find that your mind wants to wander, just gently return to your breath. At the beginning of these exercises, it is normal for the mind to be very agitated. That awareness in itself is mindfulness. The awareness of how your mind is working. Just keep focused on each and every breath. Remain calm and attentive. Just remain aware. And so usually it would take about 5, 10 or 20 minutes just watching and observing each breath, gently and calmly. And at the end of the exercise, you take a deep breath in and release. And then you slowly open your eyes. And you begin to feel feel that calm. So this is just an introduction, very short, like a 1 minute, but you do that for 5 minutes. Just there, you're there just to relax. No planning, no running about thinking about what's going to happen, just there with your breath. So you're training the mind and sharpening the mind to be in the present. Why breath again? The breath anchors the mind in the present moment. And the breath also, you cannot crave for more or less. You cannot, because a lot of times people get into this really pleasant feeling in meditation or anything in life. Whenever they get something pleasant, the mind wants to crave for more and more and more. When something is unpleasant, the mind wants to keep pushing it away. But with breath, you cannot crave for more, nor can you push it away. It is just there. So that is why breath is used as a focus. There's no, you can't play with the mind and say, I want more, or I don't want to breathe anymore.
That felt fantastic. I don't know about you.
Just now, I won't lie to you, it's everything that you were saying. I felt it up, but I could have realized that, oh, you know what? My mind made the one that I did hear people over there, the target, like everything you understand.
And you consciously
that you're
quiet
not,
your mind.
Exactly, and like,
which
okay,
you feel
block
like you
it
can't
out.
do.
That's what you're focusing on. You're focusing on the breath. So, you know,
Right.
I hope you viewers at home, you were doing it as well along with us, because it was really different. And when, like you said, when you opened our eyes, it's like your body
We didn't
feels
talk.
calm.
That's usually that's a sign right there. It took me a little while to
really
come back
relaxed,
into what we're doing at this time.
Yeah.
You
So,
know, it's a very relaxing feeling.
It is.
And I think one of the things that you said was key is you are fighting your mind.
Right.
You are. And Duane is giving the very real examples. What you do in terms of focusing on your breathing, I was paying attention to the coolness of the air.
Right.
And the feeling on your nostrils and the heat when it comes out. And it helped a lot, because otherwise you're all over the place trying to figure.
As I said at the beginning, the mind tends to want to go all over the place. This is very chaotic mind in the kind of life we're living. I don't know who teach us. And so we need to, in a sense, calm the mind. And in calming the mind, we have a deeper insight, better performance, less anger, all of that.
And that was such a great experience. And that wasn't even a full practice. That
It's not a full.
what was that, like
just
30 seconds?
That's less than a minute.
Can we go again?
Encouraging. We'll do it during the break, because one actual routine would be 5 minutes.
You start with 5 if you can, but usually I would encourage you, if you want to like lock in 20. It will stretch your mind for that period of time to experience that deep calm. And so the second one, there's another one that we could do.
Oh, there's a
very
second
short one. Yeah.
I want to ask you a question though, because I know it's a burning question for me. I don't know for other people. We tend to see more women moving towards alternative, I don't know what you call it, but this type of consciousness
Healing,
activity. You are a Belizean male. You were born in a different country, raised in a different country.
PG.
Born and raised in PG. I love
Yeah.
that. What do you say to other men in Belize who are watching this and say, that's not a foreign thing, that the white man thing? Sorry to use that term, but that is something people say.
Well, in all, let's say, all great, it's not just a white man or anything. In fact, even in Africa, everywhere, when you take time by yourself, when you take time out to get that stillness in your mind, that's how you know yourself. You get to learn more about yourself. If you talk about Jesus going to the desert, Buddha under a tree, all manner of people, they take that, Moses on the mountain, whatever, they take that time out first. Know thyself is the hallmark of your own awakening.
Do you actively reach out to men in Belize society? I mean, especially given the gang situation and the crime and violence that we see. I know you're a part of the 12 Days of Healing.
Yeah,
What's your conversation with them?
We haven't started. Well, I've done. I remember being invited to Kremandala with Yaya. We worked with some kids for some mindfulness, and amazing what those kids were saying that they were experiencing. We did a few sessions with them, and some of them would say, "Well, we don't have the space home for me to find that space in the morning." And I remember the particular one of the girls saying, I would just spend time in the bathroom and just sit there for 5 minutes. And then she would say, well, my mother would be wondering what I'm doing so long, but I would also teach my mother and ask her, join me, and this is what I'm learning.
So would you say that
but we need to reach out some more, I admit.
Yes.
Would you say that it can be easily included in our daily routine? Because we know that every morning, most people, when they wake up, that alarm goes off, they don't get up out of the bed, but they open their eyes, So would it be like an opportune moment for them to just, take that 10 minutes, that 20 minutes right there and then and just, all right, sit up in their beds and just,
Yeah, I would say that it definitely. Right. Yeah, we have to try to inculcate this in our everyday practice. I think
I wouldn't
Belize
trust myself
will be
to do it in bed. I'd go back to sleep.
even in the morning. But we have to actually, if we're to change this nation, if we're to change the world, if we want peace in the world, it has to start from within. We cannot keep saying, "Oh, peace, peace," and we are in turmoil and we have this chaotic mind, because we're going to live. Every expression we're seeing in our society, everything starts with the mind. So let's do the next one.
I was going to say, you have another one that
One
you want to
quick
do?
one.
What is this?
This one is the body scan.
Okay.
The first one is breath observation.
Okay.
Which is what I would encourage above everything else to start with.
Okay.
But then this other one, the body scan, is just becoming aware of the sensations of your body. Another thing, when we rush too much, we are not even aware of all the sensations in our body, and so they accumulate, but we get so busy. But in sitting and observing it, when these sensations arise, by just observing it, they pass away, because they're constant vibration in our bodies. And so let's try it.
Okay, great.
So we're gonna go back again, your back straight, your eyes gently closed. Take a deep breath in and release. Deep breath in. Just relax. Your shoulders relaxed. And observe your natural breath. So just begin to observe the natural breath, just as it flows in and out naturally. Do nothing. Then begin to observe the sensations of the clothing on your skin. Just observe. You might not even have been aware of that before. And then the flow of sensations all over your body. There's constant flow of sensations, whether it's tingling sensations. It could be gross sensation, it could be pain here and there. Just become aware of these sensations. I'll guide you to observe the sensations first at the top of your head. Just relax, observe, and move to your forehead. And then your facial muscles, your cheeks. Feel it. Your eyes, without judging. without reacting. Just observe your nose, your lips. Then move your attention to the back of your head. And move down, slowly down, through each and every part of your body. Your shoulders, your upper arm, your elbow, and just flow right down to the tip of your toes. Just observe. Just relax, observing each sensation without reacting. When you do this, you will observe these sensations that just arise, they pass away. They arise, they pass away. It is when we hold on to them and react to them that they deepen inside ourselves. But when we observe it, they just loosen out and pass away. Just observe. Take a deep breath in and out. Just relax. Gently open your eyes. So what we did just now in observing these sensations, this is where the healing could take place as we do this each day. We observe these sensations because, as I mentioned, every thought comes with a chemical reaction in the body. So if our thoughts are anger, jealousy, we have those kinds of chemicals in the body. And over time, they cause disease, and they're stored in the body. So by just observing, keeping peace and calm, we're releasing without holding on. But that is a second stage after the
I know, wow.
Keep practicing. You could go to Google, you'll find all kinds of guided practice. It's
And I love, you've simplified it for us today, Jeremy, in terms of being able to just focus on your breath, and anybody can do this at home. What I think it's great is when you feel, sometimes at work we get stressed out, sometimes at home the kids are driving us crazy, or maybe you just have some challenging issues that you have to overcome. Taking 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and starting with just breathing.
Exactly.
I'm telling you, the relaxation you feel, you wouldn't believe it.
Right, right.
We appreciate you being here to share this with us.
Thank you.
This is, of course, a part of our exploration of new experiences for the new year. So go ahead and try out a bit of mindfulness. Jeremy does teach a class.
There's class at Shanti. It's usually have like 6 weeks periods of time, 2 times a week, to just come and learn and just meditate. And a lot of people say they find a difference to start that habit to continue.
So that's Om Shanti Belize, in Belize City on Princess Margaret Drive. You can find them on Facebook and get more information there. We have to go ahead and take our break.
I enjoyed
now.
meditating with both of you.
That was great. That was good.
Yeah,
Right.
so thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you sharing this skill with us. Definitely something I'm going to try again. So
Keep trying, keep practicing.
I know, got to quiet that mind sometimes. But we got to go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we're going to be learning an art technique after this. So you think you're not creative, but you may find out something different after the break.